Hello, hello. I hope you guys can hear me. It sounds really weird on my end, so hopefully you can hear me. Hello, Terry. It says, "Hey, my beautiful girls, Mandy, may I please have a card? Um, not feeling my FIL since my mother-in-law passed. Is he still with me? Is that supposed to be she? And also, can you hear me?" Because my sound is really weird on this side. So if you guys can just let me know whether or not you can hear me, that would be absolutely wonderful. Um, oh Lord. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you so much. I'm like sitting here trying to like mess with stuff. And Mandee is coming. So Mandee can pull you a card as soon as she pops on. She's actually leaving from work a little bit late. And I don't have my cards with me because they're actually my son's cards that I steal from him. So I don't have them currently at the moment. But yes, Terry, I guarantee we can make sure that we pull cards for you once she gets on. And we have Jennifer. Hello. Hello. Julie, Sophia, Glenda. Ooh, dry di is it Draperia? I'm so sorry. I'm horrible with names, but hello. And we have all you wonderful people. So thank you so very much for tuning in. I don't really know what to talk about because like for me right now, it's literally just me having a conversation. But I will say that like Terry, do you see? I put Charlie back up like on the other side so you guys can actually see him. And that's pretty much all I have. Hi, Mom. Alice is my mom. Hi, Brittany. And once again, if you guys are like just tuning in, usually it's Mandee and I. She will be popping on here pretty soon. And once she pops on, she will be doing readings with you guys and such. But it's just me right now. So I don't really know what we want to talk about. I don't really have much to talk about, actually. I'm currently in the middle of making other stuff. Like I'm really excited because I have finally in this like cocoon phase of my life since moving to California, I have been in this weird random space of mine where I'm like, what do I want to do? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do this? And so you guys are actually going to, I'm going to have a completely new website. I'm getting rid of the name Mid-Mitten Medium because I'm no longer in Mid-Michigan. So I'm going directly to Spirit Speaks, but there's also some cool stuff coming with Spirit Speaks that's like right up my freaking alley. And it's putting the things that I want to do into purpose, but I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And that's what I've been doing. I've been creating logos and all the other stuff. And Mandee's here. So I have been doing things on that end and trying to figure it out. So as soon as I do, it's going to be released. I'm currently making a new website. So I promise I haven't just ghosted everybody. Hi, Mandee. We have so many people here today. We have so many people popping in.
I'm so grateful you're all here, and I'm sorry I'm a couple minutes late. I had to work a couple minutes late, but that's okay. It happens.
That's okay. I was talking. I was doing my best, Mandee.
I
was like,
no doubt that you could hold it down.
I was like, so I don't know what to talk about, so I'll just talk about me for a minute and let you know I haven't ghosted y'all. Like there's a logo coming. And I've changed it since I talked to you, Mandee. Like things have changed already. And like I'm really excited because Spirit has bestowed upon me last week what it is that I should be doing. And so I'm really super grateful and I'm about to have some fun and that makes me really happy. So I'm
Did
like,
you already say what you should be doing?
No, and I'm not going to until I make the website.
What a tease. I love it.
I know, right? It's so excited because I'm making the website, but also on top of that, like I have such a passion and freaking like teaching spirit, teaching love, not fear. That is my thing. And there's so many fear-based TV shows out there right now that depict spirit in such an ugly, fearful, demonic, hideous way. And that's just not the truth of anything. And it's so stupid because like, there's so many people that tune into us. And there's so many people that you work with. There's so many clients that I have. There's so many people out there that are so curious about spirit and they're trying really hard to find something to connect with in a positive way, but they're just not finding it. And so this is going to play into all of that. It's like I said, my whole purpose is teaching love, not fear, because if we fear spirit, we can't tune into spirit. We can't tune into something we're scared of. And so how do we as teachers help our clients tap into and understand something that they may fear. You have to understand that it's love, and it's not something else. There are ugly things out there, but you have to let those things in. Like, and that's the teaching behind it. You have to be the person that lets them in, and you let them in through your thoughts, your feelings, how you are in life. It's how you live. That's the door. And so I'm so excited to finally make something that, one, is going to set my soul on fire the way that I've wanted to. But also on top of that, I'm just really excited because I feel like it's finally starting to come together for me in the first time since like 2018. So it's been a while since I've been working on this, and it's been a huge cocoon phase that, like, I'm just like, I'm done. Last time I talked to Mandee, I was like, I don't care if I'm living in a car or a box.
It sounds like exactly what we needed. This is good.
I was like, I'll go where I end up. I just don't care no more, because it is what it is, and it'll be what it's going to be. And I have to give up the control of what I think life should be, including in this business, because it's not about me. And I think that's like the hardest thing for us to let go of, is our own ego in life, and understanding it's not about us. It's not. It's about you. It's about all of you that are tuning in, that I'm talking to. It has nothing to fucking do with me. So I had to let go of my own ego, going in the corner with my freaking 15-year-old throwing a fit, going, but I want this. And this is how it should look. And Spirit's like, we'll just let her do this for a few years because she's just not getting it. And so I had to get through that phase. And here I am. And now they're like, okay, now that we've got you there, let's do some shit. And Mandee, we have so many people who are chatting. And usually we have Mandee pull cards, and she just got out of work. So before we start the cards, is there anything you want to discuss, talk about, chat about, bring up before we start today?
I'm just so grateful each and every one of you are here right now, and hang in there. We're in the middle. If Ursula was here, she would tell you we're in the middle of Mars retrograde, and it's a big time of conflict, internal, external, a time of just leveling up, figuring things out in all kinds of different ways. People who you thought, you'd be friends with forever, there's growing pains going on. Old friends might be coming back, and like relationships, there's a lot of relationship stuff with ourselves and with others. And it's all there just to teach us, to guide us. And as Crystal was saying, there's always an opportunity to basically choose love or fear. And one of my greatest teachers, who it's like, interesting how all of this works, but it's how Crystal and I met too, through one of my greatest teachers, used to teach us that alchemy is actually like when you become curious about fear. And like the way that you alchemize fear is to become curious about it. And that's how you start to investigate and be like, all right, you know what? I was afraid of the dark all the time. I was really afraid of the dark. Like after being through all the trauma I had been through and being attacked several times and different things, I was always afraid of being outside at night. And it was this energy that took over when it wasn't really real. It wasn't the reality of what was happening at that time. And it was a time where I was able to start really trying to practice what I preach and starting to alchemize that fear a bit by becoming curious. So what would I do? I'd take a few deep breaths. I'd say, angels, please surround me in white and blue light and protect me. Please help me to feel safe when I go outside. And what I noticed was, instead of being like panicked every single time I walked outside and being in this constant triggered state, I'd start to take a breath. I'd start to feel the air. I'd start to all of a sudden see some stars, or even a shooting star, an owl every now and then, or something really cool. And then I remember after about a month of really trusting Archangel Michael and like shielding, I got tested. I've told this story before. And like I heard like somebody rustling like far away. And I was like, oh no, like this is it. I'm getting attacked. It was this poor like old homeless lady with like a kitten on a string, like hiding from me. And I'm like, this is like all this energy you conjured up, Mandee. Like this is all of that like fear, all that stuff, all because of the what ifs that you don't even know what's going on right now. And then I had come to learn like a lot of like amazing shamans and teachers and people out there. My dogs are happy I'm home and they're playing in the background. So if it's loud, I'll hit mute.
They can play. They're good.
Yeah. So if you hear any odd, strange noises, it's just them. But you get these anyway. Long story short, you get all these amazing opportunities to start to trust yourself and to start to figure out what energy you're holding, when, and why. And then the cool thing is you transmute your reactions into responses. You end up practicing that pause. And then when a fire happens, instead of being like, fire, blah, 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 it's like, there's a fire. Okay, let me call 911. Maybe I'll get some water. I'll ask everyone to leave the building right now or whatever. You have more of an opportunity to respond. And it's that same energy with your personal emotions. And I was just listening to I call her the fairy godmother, Louise Hay, this morning, talking about that and helping to reprogram myself with some things. And it's just so amazing how so in charge we are. And we tend to forget that because we're also programmed to every single which way you go. It's just guilt, shame, criticism, fear all over the place in all kinds of ways. And we're all just doing our best. And it's very heightened right now. And then the other thing I want to say, and I want to go through and say hello to every single person, of course, but just sending mad love during the holidays. A lot of people are in a hurt state, a grief state, a triggered state. There's a lot of transition always during the holidays with lots of souls. And I mean, the best thing we can do is just honor ourselves and those who are here with us or who have transitioned. And if you have a down day, you have a down day. And if you have a down moment, you have a down moment. If you have a happy moment, you have a happy moment. It's all okay. It's all acceptable. And we're just sending you mad love.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I think I might have gotten through my conflict a little bit. I'm still conflicted, I guess, with Crystal, but I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people talking about their dreams and being conflicted, like in their dreams. Sophia, I'm down at the end of the things, but Sophia says, definitely having conflict show up in my dreams. Since it's not a conversation I can have in person at this time, I keep forgetting in my dream. I kept forgetting in my dream I mad at them and would be like, wait, no, I'm mad at you. I forgot. LOL, super lame. And then we have
We
Fran
also have
over
a
here.
troll.
Oh,
We have a
sorry.
troll I need you to handle.
But we also have Fran that is, I'm just gonna block her. So yeah, I have us live streaming on both YouTube and Facebook. So before I go any further to the trolls, nice try, but we shut it down. There's a positive way to connect with people and a negative way to connect with people, and fishing for people is a negative way. If you want to come and visit Mandee and I, you can visit her at SeaGoddessHealingArts.com, and you can ask her for a reading. If you would like to have her pull a card, you can ask her for a card. And also with me, if you want to contact me, but we don't fish for the crazy stuff here, because I think that's distasteful. And I think that you will reach out when you're ready. And so people who choose to do that, I wouldn't trust them with my soul. So that's all I'm going to say. Conflict. Anywho, but people are stating that they're having conflict in their dreams. And I guess I'm kind of curious as to how your conflict is playing out in your dreams. I also, over the last like week and a half, have been having a lot of dreams where, I'm having arguments or conversations with people that are not able to have arguments or conversations with. And when I say arguments, I say it very loosely, because it is an argument on their end, but on my end, it's not an argument. And so there's a lot of people in life that I think sometimes, how am I going to say this? Specifically, communication to me is key in everything. In every relationship known to man, we have to have communication. And I think when people hear the word communication, they think talking. They don't understand that 90% of communication is listening. You have to actively listen to what somebody's saying and remove your ego from what you think you know to be true in conflict. Because your perception of what somebody else may be doing, thinking, saying, perceiving, acting may not be accurate at all. No matter how intuitive you think you are, I'm including myself in this. No matter how intuitive I am, it does not mean that I understand another person. It means that I myself have triggers. It means I myself have flaws. It means I myself have had things happen in my life. And in those moments of conflict, when I'm like, but I am seeing through my trauma lens. We all do this. And so at that moment, your intuition goes out the door and it takes a side seat, because all you're doing is reacting with this. And you have to sit and sit. You really have to practice the sit and sit. And you have to take things in, and you have to let your spirit self guide you in that moment and say, but. Because I cannot tell you how many times my spirit pops into actual human conflict and chooses to say, but, even though my brain is taking it off on some weird tangent, my spirit self always kicks in into hyperdrive and says, but you may be misunderstanding this. And even though they may have done this, and even though they may have said that, there may be other things behind those that you weren't understanding of because you're not in their soul. You're not in their head. And so even though you feel like this because of that action and because of those words, does not mean that they were trying to make you feel this action or feel these feelings because of those actions or words. We really have to understand that and break that down. I mean, blatant bullcrap is something to not tolerate. But if you're really trying to have a loving relationship with a friend, a family member, a spouse, anybody, you have to be able to break down the conversation through a communication back and forth, which means both parties actively listening without replying or responding instantaneously, and then taking the time to really rethink. And I had to do this in the beginning. I would repeat what I was going to say 3 times in my head prior to actually responding. There's a proper way to give love. And I think a lot of us have to understand that none of us are perfect in those conversations. I myself am flawed. I say and do a lot of things in the moments of heated conversations, especially in the past, that I'm like, girl, you gotta stop being this way. And so I will actively also apologize and say, look, I may have said what I said and I felt that in the moment, but it was also wrong. And I was wrong for saying it and I was wrong for doing it. And so I apologize if I did this, or this. Because it's me being responsible in that moment and then understanding I'm only in control of me. I'm only in control of me. They don't have to apologize. They don't have to respond the way that I want them to. That has nothing to do with me. And I know Mandee has had several things in her life too, where she's had these conflicts of things and unclosed emotional circles and conflict. And we just have to get better at understanding that it's on them and it's on them to let us know what's going on. I can ask those questions, but if people aren't going to give me that answer, that's not on me. And I have to find a way to resolve that within my own soul. And I think a lot of conflict comes from the lack of communication based on not only how my people in my head have given it through readings and through me, but also in dealing with other situations and circumstances. Like, I don't really know a lot of people who know how to communicate. I really don't. And that's a very frustrating thing for me to deal with in my life because I feel like I'm the only person that knows how to actively listen and speak and sit with people, but it's because spirits trained me to do so.
I was going to say, because you're one of the rare few who get to do this, but like we all need to learn how, and we're not taught. And we're all trying to walk that dance and figure that out together. And I loved the points that you brought up too about like really like what happens is you're the one who has the choice. You might not get an apology you want or a closure that you want or information or a why or all kinds of stuff. And what happens is it's really an opportunity for us. Like if we're fostering any sort of sadness or resentment or guilt or whatever it is within us, we're the ones who control those feelings within us. We're the ones who have to sit with ourselves. And somebody commented the sit. I liked that. Hi, Marge. Thank you for being here. Somebody said, and there lies the difficulty. The sit works my human patience. And it is. And it's so interesting because it's such a blip when we're down here anyway. And it's such a short amount of time. But that sitting and being with, and like sitting doesn't mean just sitting there and thinking about it the whole time. It means letting it be. All right, cool. And then maybe go volunteer, go help do something, clean your space, go for a walk, move things around. Like, and maybe that's a week's long practice. Maybe that's just a few days. But what'll happen is when you allow it to sit and you give it some space and some time, you gain perspective and you gain clarity and you're able to kind of cut the cord and then come back in and reevaluate it. And when we are sitting, and here's the other part, a lot of times when we sit and sit and sit, sometimes we sit in some more negative feelings like, resentment and guilt or jealousy or just different things that kind of make us feel icky. And what happens is that takes a toll on our body, on our vessel after a while. And it's not helpful for us if we sit in those certain feelings for long, long periods of time. Julie said my ADHD makes it hard to sit. I get that. I have ADHD too. I've definitely learned how to manage it a lot over the years with tapping, and I'm a cannabis user and all kinds of different things. However, I think that's an opportunity too, because you can distract yourself and focus on something different for a little while and then come back to it. And it can be a beautiful thing.
You know, it's funny, Terry. I'm gonna make a joke about Ben. He's listening, but when him and I are having like conflict with each other, he reminds me of the UPS man from I think Mad TV back in the day. Like, you remember he's like, "Huh, huh, 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 huh." You know, that's what it's like having the conversation with him. I myself also have like ADHD, and I always tell people that like without the ADHD, and I believe like autistic, on the spectrum stuff, I would not be able to channel. I believe fully that those are gifts that we need to learn how to use in our lives instead of be like, feeling like all this stuff. Once you allow that anxiety in a positive way and learn to put your files in your filing cabinet and pull them out at the right time, it's just a different organization that we have to learn. And that is literally what makes it possible for me to channel. Because I can't see, when I channel, spirit talks about how they channel the energy is, and you can talk about clairvoyance and all those things. You can Google them, and I will literally tell you this is layman's terms: thoughts, feelings, emotions, ego, imagery, senses. That's how everything comes in. And so when I'm channeling, I'm able to take all the thoughts that are coming in, the feelings that are coming in, the senses, the smells, the taste, all of those things come in at once, and I have to keep talking continuously. Okay. If I didn't have that shit, I wouldn't be able to do that, because I would only be able to pay attention to one thing at a time, which is why, analytically speaking, it's harder for people to tap in, because they're not so in tune with all of what's going on around them. We have this beautiful way to hop in this chaotic sea of nonsense and chaos and be like, hey, I saw this, and oh, look at that fish. And we're seeing it all at the same time. And then the water feels warm, and we just felt the whoosh of the waves take place over our heads. And we're like, well, that's cool, all at the same time. We are not linear things. And so to me, they're gifts. And so I try to tell people that, because when we look at it as a disorder, or we look at it in the way of, and whether it is, I'm not saying that it exists or doesn't. I believe what you believe. I don't care. I'm saying that this is what I've done to train me into loving myself and taking care of myself, and taking some of that and making it make sense to my life and using it in a way that's helped other people. I think that that's all it is. It's learning how to take those things and kind of compress them into an understanding and say, I'm going to use this, instead of look at it as a traumatic, I'm dumb, I'm stupid, I can't fit in, I won't fit in, I'm never going to understand. Those are all negatives. Look at the positives of what that brings to your life. And yes, it comes with anxiety. When I have anxiety go whoop, from like 0 to 10 or 0 to 100, that's when spirit's around. That's my tell. When I am anxious, they're trying to talk to me. And so I use it as a positive. And I feel like everything can be spun in a positive way, but it takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of determination. It takes a lot of fire under you to really try to fit that into your life and use it. And I got bad days. Ask Mandee. We talk about bad days. Crystal's a hot mess express sometimes. I'm sure Mandee is too.
Yeah.
But my good golly, Miss Molly, if you're at an 80-20 or whatever, I don't know, then you can at least embrace it a little bit better. But I hear you, Terry, because communication with Ben is very difficult sometimes, because he doesn't know how to stop and think and process. And I need that stop, that think, that process for me specifically, because that's one of my love languages, is to be heard. And so I need to have that present moment of my husband acting, at least like he can hear me in the moment and take in what I'm saying before responding, because to me that is confliction. And so it's finding ways to communicate with all the people, because what works for him doesn't work for me, and vice versa. So you're dealing with all these different people who live, love, understand all these things differently, and we're trying to use it. And it's weird and it's crazy. And I think that's a little bit of the dance. I feel like life is a dance to me. It's like a play. It's something that we're doing. And it's like this beautiful, graceful movement between people and events and situations. And once you learn how to like have fun with the dance and like not get fed up with it, I guess, tired, exhausted, you'll have your days. You always will. So Squirrel. Ben's just scared of you. He's not scared of me. I will say, like, I think everybody thinks he is, but I'm going to say Ben is not scared of me. There's no reason to be scared of me because I am a woman who says what I mean and I mean what I say. And everybody in my life knows that. So if he's scared of me, I think that we have overstayed our marriage a little bit. I'm going to come back up to Terry because she was the very first person, Mandee. And she said, "Hey, my beautiful girls, Mandee, may I please have a card? I am not feeling and I feel like that's supposed to be father-in-law, since my mother-in-law has passed. Is he still with me?" I'm going to tell you, yes, she can pull her cards for you, but he's still with you. You got to give, like, she just passed, Terry. She just went to the other side, honey. You got to give them a moment to regroup over there, okay? Like, spirit's got to give energy to the people over here. And they can be with us all. Like, don't hear me wrong. He doesn't have to be there with her at just that time. Like, spirit is completely, they can be wherever, whenever. It's not anything that they have to be stuck in a body like us. But at the same time, you got to understand that the energy has shifted. And so they're given a minute. They're given a minute for you. They're given a minute for feeling. They're given a minute for her. They're given a minute to hear her and what she wants to say, how she wants to represent. There's a lot of communication and conversations taking place on the other side right now, but I can guarantee he is with you. And he's probably going to come back, but I think he's going to probably give her a little bit of an opportunity to start speaking, because even though she passed and she was who she was prior to her passing, a little stubborn, they're making me feel like she still has a lot to say. So I think that you guys are probably going to get bombarded with her pretty quickly. And he's probably going to be the one giving energy to her to help with that communication, because he's a different guy. He's doing this, which usually means to me like two different sides of the fence, which means they grew up very differently. They have different understandings, different personality traits, blah, blah, blah. And so he's going to actually be one of the sounding boards over there that help her communicate the right way, because she probably wasn't so great at the communication when she was here. So give him a minute to learn how to speak her language for her, the way that she needs to speak, and let them have that minute.
Yeah, and hang in there. You will certainly feel it. And sometimes, like when we're just overwhelmed or a lot of things happen or there's transition going on, sometimes we are a little like disconnected from certain things. And I believe when that happens too, it's just because we're meant to be focusing on us and like our ego in this lifetime and who we are, and like getting our routine down and making sure we're taking care of ourselves and things like that. And if we're in any sense of stress or overwhelm, it's really hard for us to receive too. So the best thing we can do is start to find our peace, to try to relax a little, and then be open to receiving. And then we feel it again and more comes in. But just know, Terry, you are very, very held. And then a few cards for Terry. Oh, beautiful. Okay. So first you've got the Knight. Be brave and honest at this time. It's a good time to really speak your truth from the heart, not in a mean way, not in a bad way, nothing, just this is how I feel and this is why. And let it be, because it needs to be spoken at this time. Holidays are coming up. There's a lot of things happening. I love this card because you can even see there's like a tear coming down this Knight's in this Knight's cheek right there. And it says to be brave and to be honest, because it's not always easy. But what happens is that gives you some peace, which is really nice, because then you get Broken Arrow. Embrace the energy of peace, which is what you're needing. So at this time, do what you can to focus on you, to find your center. And that's going to help you to open to receive it this time. And then your last one is the Lord. Take charge with authority. So you have to take all the action steps to create your peace. Peace is awesome. And the idea of like peace is amazing. And it's like, all right, yeah, I'm just going to be peaceful. I'm going to relax. But we actually, a lot of times it takes some work to create a space, to create peace at this time. So do that, focus on that, and a lot's going to come in for you. And we're so glad you're here, and we love and appreciate you, Terry. And thanks for asking.
I love you, Terry. I really do. It's so cute because she's like, I'm so impatient. I don't think you're impatient. I think that we need to be nicer to ourselves when it comes to stuff like that. Death is hard. Death is hard. losing people is difficult. And I don't care how close you are, how not close you are, or what the situation is, it's still difficult. And I think that we need to be patient with ourselves more so than patient with spirit sometimes, because spirit can hear, they can see, they don't need you to, like, I don't know, call out to them specifically and be like, I'm feeling this. They know all the things and they feel all the things. It's almost like just in this open, beautiful way as soon as they cross over to the other side. And I don't think they fault us at all for having these emotions and feelings, and they understand we want to hear from them. The issue is that sometimes it's extremely difficult for them to learn the communication on the other side when they haven't communicated with their feelings or emotions their whole life. And that's why I also think it's kind of fun and amazing and wonderful. Like, I see a lot of people ask questions like, why aren't there people from today? There's only people from like the 1800s or, the early 1900s when you go to these houses. Well, those people have had a lot more time to learn how to use their energy to present themselves. Okay. It's not that the people from the 2000s aren't there, because I see them too, but they don't show themselves. They don't interact as much as what the older people do, because they've had more time to perfect that skill. Whereas the people who passed away 2 years ago and are still earthbound trying to get to the other side haven't been to the other side. They don't have those tips and tricks on how to communicate, say, and speak. And so they're teaching themselves in this very weird place how to open up and speak with only this much time to do so. They have to give you everything in this much time. And that's why sometimes it feels so fearful or so painful or so whatever. It's because they have 2 seconds to share with you all of those things that I talked about before, and they don't know how. So it's the communication and understanding on the other side that is what keeps them at that space. It's not the only people from the 1800s, 1900s, or whatever are haunting your houses. It's just they've had a multitude of years to perfect their way of coming through, whereas other people haven't quite learned how to tune in. And so sometimes when people pass, them not coming through right away is just a miscommunication on their end. They don't know how to speak French when they pass over. And so they got to learn instantaneously a new language, and we have to understand that. So Terry, I don't think you're being impatient at all. I just think that you're like every person on the planet that wants to know that they transitioned well, they're in a good space, and that they're held and loved. And sometimes it takes them a minute to tell us that, and we can just hope and pray and cross our fingers until that comes. So give yourself love, give yourself patience. That's what I'm going to say.
And like literally, patience is a practice. And you literally got like the broken arrow to embrace the energy of peace. And then you got this Lord, take charge with authority. That's a great opportunity. Whether you're just running late or you're stuck at a red light and you're like, okay, this is like annoying. Like, I want to get where I'm going. All right, let me practice the pause. Here I am right now. Let me take a few breaths and be patient. Whatever kind of little micro moments you can find in your life right now, for you, Terry, and for everybody, to practice breathing a little and just accepting, okay, you know what? Let me take a few minutes and let someone else get back to me. Let me take a couple minutes here and see what's going on around me. Let me be patient in the grocery line. Let me be patient, while I'm on the phone with someone, or a red light, like I said, or whatever it is, because that's a great training ground. And then what happens is we learn how to become more patient with ourselves, with others, and with spirit. I used to get crazy bad gout attacks, and it's very rare I get one now. It still can happen for me sometimes, but it's always when I'm being impatient and I need to dominate something. And people are like, and when I think about it and I think about myself, they're like, but what are you impatient with? You're so kind. And I was like, I can be with myself. I can be really hard on myself. I can be really rude to myself at times. And then sometimes it's spirit. And when we're being impatient like that and we just want all the answers or the signs, it's really hard for it to come through because we're in a state of overwhelm when we're being impatient. So I love that came up, and this is a great time to really start working on it in even the smallest moments.
I'm going through comments. I'm sorry. I am paying attention, but I am going back through the comments.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point of us doing this thing together.
So Ashley Manor says, hello, ladies. I have a family member, and I feel like this is more of a card thing than a crystal thing, because crystal's more of a direct one-on-one. So I think this might be more of a card thing, Mandee. I member, and really our entire family is going through some stuff right now, and I'd love to just hear anything you might have for me. and I can give you what I'm receiving. But at the same time, I think it's more of a card thing, because what they're doing is they're giving the family as a whole, and they're making me feel as though it's kind of just like dispersing is how they're presenting it to me, which means that there are kind of people who have either went their own direction, and there are probably some conflicts amongst, I guess I'm going to say this in like different spoke systems. um, but at the same time, I don't necessarily feel like it's an internal conflict of family. They're almost making me feel like separately people have things happening outside of the house that are coming in and causing conflict, and I do feel as though there's probably one person that's a little conflicted within the family situation and circle. However, I also think your family's growing, and I think that your family's learning, and I think that unfortunately y'all are some pretty powerful old school people who kind of picked a path. And so when I see a lot of different old souls, that means to me there's a lot of people who are kind of learning and growing at the same time, and it's happening amongst the family itself. I do have to commend you though, because there's grandma over here doing this, which usually, and great grandma, thank you. She's doing this, which usually means to me that you guys are close and you love each other greatly. And I think you need to remember that through all of this, because I feel like there's people not speaking. It's almost like we can't help if you don't ask. And she's making me feel like there are some people who are struggling asking for the help, and I don't think the other people want to enforce upon them, you know, their opinion, or you should do this or whatever, because you understand that right now they have to go through it. And so I'm going to say do what you're doing, because grandma's making me feel like it's not, this isn't a lesson for the people who are offering help or who want to help. This is more of a lesson for the one that's struggling, or the people who are struggling to communicate that the help is needed. And so that's how she's presenting it to me. And that's why I said I think this is more of a Mandee thing than a me thing, because cards can give a broader spectrum. But in a nutshell, that's how I'm seeing it.
I think that's beautiful, Crystal. And I pulled a few cards. Number one, no, Archangel Michael is with you and you are protected, and so is your family. Not easy right now. There's a lot going on. You then pulled the change and transition card. Thank you, Archangel Azrael, for helping us through this change and transition. The only species that survives in our wild, beautiful, amazing Earth school is the one that's able to adapt most to change. Not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most loving, not the smartest. Like, it's the one that's able to adapt most to change. That's what survives here in Earth School. So there is a lot of change. There is a lot of transition right now. And even though it can be growing pains and it can be hard and you guys are going through it, know you're protected and know that it's happening for you all at this time. Like Crystal was saying, to grow and to have, a greater capacity of love, whether it's actual transition and someone passing on, whether it's the decision someone's making at this time, or how we're treating one another, whatever that is, it's all a sliding door window or moment in order for us to tune back in and see where we can show up in a more mature version of ourselves at this time. And then last but not least, you also got connect with music. I don't know if you and your family are into music together, if you guys like to dance or play music or go see music, or if it's just something that's really soothing to you at this time. But just know, Ashley, that it's okay. You're protected. You're held. Things are going to end up for the highest good the way they're supposed to, even if it doesn't feel good at this time. And if you can use music to connect and to console you, and also they're showing, listen for some messages, because your angels are definitely sending some beautiful messages through lyrics at this time for you. I hope that helps. Sending you some love.
And music helps us break up energy. So all the stagnant energy, I don't feel like it's negative energy. I don't know, Mandee, what you got from it, but I don't really feel like I would consider this negative energy. I feel like it's stagnant energy. I feel like there's some stuff that's stuck and not moving, and people don't know how to move forward from whatever is stuck. And so the dancing is the movement. It breaks it up. My guides have been, I think I talked about it last Monday, where they were like, be the duck. You got to shake it out sometimes. Start from the head and like get all the way to your tail, because you have to understand that just like in the book, The Body Keeps Score, you have to move things through. It's not enough to kind of work through it in your mind. You have to get it out of your body too. And so move a little bit, dance a little bit, invite some things into your life a little bit that are going to uplift you, and maybe share some of those things with other people and just leave it at the door for them. because I really think that you're a guiding light for a lot of people. And I think you got to give yourself a pat on the back. And I think that's why you're feeling so heavy about some of these things, because I really feel like you have a lot of growth yourself that you've already overcome. And maybe other people aren't seeing it through your perspective or understanding it because they're not there yet. But please remember, anyone out here who's listening at all, like, never underestimate a seed. My guides give me this all the time for people. Everything we speak, everything we do, everything that we present ourselves as is a seed. And so no matter what somebody hears about me in some form or fashion, if they hear it and somebody already knows me to be who I am, that seed that I planted a long time ago is going to take root. It's going to take structure, and it is going to grow. And so everything that you say is being taken in. It might just not be the time for the seed to grow roots. You have to wait for them to come to the space where that starts to take root and grow in a beautiful way. So never underestimate giving people those seeds. Plant that shit in everybody. But at the same time, leave it at the door and let it be a part of their life when it's meant to be a part of their life. I think you need to give yourself a lot more credit for what you have done versus what you feel stuck in not being able to do. And so that's probably why they're saying that, because good gosh, I feel like you yourself are a beautiful, lighthearted person and just feels very heavy right now. Everything feels heavy right now. And I do believe it should feel heavy. I don't think you're saying this or doing this or experiencing this for negative reasons. I really think that it is life right now for you guys. And I'm sorry you're going through it. Andrea, I am so sorry that you had a friend pass today. I did see that comment. I went through and I read them, and I did see that comment. And I think you had asked later if I could tell you how they passed, and I am not going to be able to do it. Like, I'm doing this. They're doing this to me. The only thing that I got was this, which means quick and unexpected. But when they do this, it means timeout. And that means that there's more to the structure of the story that I'm not supposed to be sharing. Okay. And so you had stated in your other comment that you had already, like, you think you know, I think is what you said, that you thought that you might know or understand, but you just need validation. I'm going to say sit with your gut for a moment, because I think other things are probably going to come to the surface and what that is. So that's how I'm going to say it. It's not meant to come through this way at all. And I'm not saying contact me for a reading either. I'm just saying I think some things need to play out before that comes to the surface. And I feel like it was very quick and unexpected. That's how I'm going to say that. Okay. So I'm going back down.
I know. I feel like I'm so behind in comments.
I know you guys are amazing, and I'm trying to read them. Like, I've read them and went back up. So I'm trying to
thank you all for being here.
And Monica, thank you so very much. She says, my spirit feels relieved when I sit listening to the two of you. Thank you for this Monday love. Happy holidays. Love you both. Thank you, Monica, for tuning in.
Oh, we love and appreciate you too, Monica. And I just, for fun, I just kind of pulled a card for you. The Peaceful Warrior. Just know that that's you right now. It says, thank you, angels, for helping me to stand my ground with peace. Just be you with love. Let it radiate. Lead by example. And you too are bringing in some magnificent, awesome holiday energy right now, just by being who you are. And thank you for showing up and being part of our show most Monday nights with us here on Spirit Speaks.
So Kathleen says, could you pull a card for me tonight?
Sure. I'm actually feeling called to pull from this deck.
I love that you have so many different decks at your disposal. I love that Mandee has like a whole like thing over here that she can pull cards from.
Yeah, you should see my actual desk though, with me and my ADHD brain. I have like ADHD brain. I have like 6 books, like 6 card decks. I've got so much stuff. My sage, my candles, my crystals, but it makes me happy and it works. So for Kathleen, we got the ever unfolding rose cracked open. It's happening for you, not to you. If there's been a lot of growth lately and growing pains, or things that are kind of a shock to your heart at this time, or things that you can't control and you're just not really sure what to do, know that it's happening because you are a warrior of love. Know that it's happening because your perspectives are meant to grow and change at this time. And even though it feels like you might be breaking in half at times, it's actually happening so you can expand. And the greatest loves on this planet have broken their hearts open over and over and over again. And that's what's helped them learn how to love and cope with loss and become absolutely magnificent beings. And just know that the things that are happening right now are happening for you and not to you in order to expand you. So I hope that sends you some love. I hope that sends you a little confirmation. And if it's a little hard right now, we're just sending you extra love. And if it's also something you're enjoying, enjoy that ride, because it's there to broaden your horizons and stretch your heart chakra and change your perspectives. I hope that supports you.
I'm gonna go to Monica's comment because I just thought it was funny. I just apologized for losing my shit, and they said I accept your apology. MF didn't apologize. I just was like, oh man, Monica, that is such a me reaction. I'm like, I did my due diligence. What the crap? So I thought that was super cute.
And that's where so much magic lies, because, right, you think, okay, I'm going to go make peace and I apologize. I put it out there. You think someone's going to accept it or respond to it or something. And sometimes no. And we can only meet one another from where we're at in our own perspectives and perceptions. And what happens with that too is we have that opportunity to be like, all right, you know what? Humbled again. I was expecting something in return and I'm not getting that. And it's up to me to decide how I, handle this. Do I get angry? Do I get resentful? Do I just say, all right, schooled. I'm completely unattached. Like, cool. I don't need that. But our ego's got to go through it and learn. And that's a beautiful example of that.
Yeah, that's a I see you moment. Like, I'm watching you. Like, I know your energy now. That's fine. Touche. That's cool. Crystal can play too. She's really good. This girl's really good. And I separate myself, guys. I need you to hear, like, I talk about myself in third person because Crystal herself knows nothing other than what Spirit has gifted her, which is amazing information, by the way. But Spirit Crystal, like, that girl, she is in tune. That girl's fire. And most of the time, I unfortunately don't listen to half the shit that comes from that part of me because ego. But at the same time, like, she's always on. She is always on. She knows how to read people. And I make jokes all the time. If you've ever seen the TV show Criminal Minds, I could be an FBI person because my brain can, like, literally look at a human being and just kind of like, and then all of a sudden it's like, I know exactly who they are, what they're like, it's weird. But at the same time, I have to rein myself back, like I talked about before, and be like, is it from this? Is it from this? Is it just blah, blah, blah? You still have to question yourself because you're still not right most of the time when it comes to your human self. So we just, whatever. And I wanted to point this out because Marge, yes.
I love this.
Is it sensory or sensitive? Such a blurred line from my perspective, and your blurred line is accurate. When my guides talk about, let's say, mental health, which also would go into ADHD or autism, it's one of those things. It's a disorder through science terms. I am a big believer in science and spirit go hand in hand. Okay. I don't separate the two. I feel like they kind of mesh together. And if you pay attention to anything, literally the CIA just confirmed through documentation of all the things that we say to be true about energy. Okay. The CIA literally just put it out there. You can find the paperwork. You are the creator
for as long as we have.
I know, right? They tried to use it for other things, but we're trying to use it to empower people to understand that you're the creator of what's happening around you. It's just a freaking dream. It's a hologram. It is what it is. Anywho, that's neither here nor there. But when my guides are talking to people, there is such a beautiful understanding of this fine line between the two things, which is why I'm also such an advocate for mental emotional health. I am an advocate of getting yourself evaluated if you are struggling with something that other people, if somebody's like you're bipolar or, you feel like you're this or they're this, or this, what's the harm in getting yourself evaluated just to make sure? Okay. Either you are or you're not. What's the worst that could happen? You get diagnosed with something. Just because you're diagnosed doesn't mean that you can't go in and try to find different ways to cope with that. I'm also a big believer in mind, body, spirit. You have to have the trifecta working together in order to overcome many multitudes of things in your life. And so my guides teach it in such a weird way, but it is a person-to-person basis. And so it's really difficult for me to talk about this in such a broad spectrum when each person is an individual and how they see, receive, and understand, and also what their personal gifts are and what they're not. But I really believe that I myself, I think I've talked about it, I don't know, but I myself have had 3 different mental health evaluations. I thought it was extremely important. One was done for medical reasons, so it wasn't necessarily anything that I had to do for whatever, but 2 of them were done because my emotional health and well-being at the time were in the gutter. And so I've had that done. I am an advocate of that. And then I'm an advocate of, okay, I have this disorder. If they give you a disorder, or if they give you a diagnosis or whatever, this is what they're saying I have. How can I look into this differently? There are so many amazing people out there that could help you understand in a spiritual understanding type of way, while also understanding how your brain works. The holistic psychologist or psychiatrist, she's one of them. I absolutely love her.
Dr. Nicole LaPera, she's great.
She's amazing, and she puts it into a spiritual flair or a spiritual way, while also talking about the mental health as well. So I just feel like there's a lot of ways to kind of look at that, and I feel like it is a very fine line. I think you're accurate AF when describing it that way. It is a very, very fine line. But I also believe fully that it doesn't matter what disorder you have. I believe that people are sensitive. Just because you're a sociopath doesn't mean you can't be an empath.
So I really like this question too, or like the way she kind of brought it up, because for me, like how it resonated was when I think sensory, like I think of something outside of ourselves and a sense and something coming in like that we use within ourselves. And then sensitive is like our sensitivity to that sensory. So like we get overstimulated if things are too loud, and we might be like a little too sensitive to that, but our sensory is working and it's like doing what it needs to be do, but then we're a little overstimulated. And that's a simple example of how things can work in all kinds of different ways. And like being an empath, like we joke around, like Lee Harris, if you guys don't follow him, he's really great. And he says, like, he talks about empaths being like an unmanaged empath versus an empowered empath, because we can look at it as being cursed and like, oh my God, I can feel everybody's feelings and can barely handle my own or manage my own and unmanaged one. But really that's what this journey is about. It's about learning how to manage that and learning how to transmute that into like your superpower. And at times it can be overwhelming and you can be like far too sensitive to it. But then when you learn how to really like harness it and handle your actions and your reactions to it, then all of a sudden you put in boundaries and all kinds of cool things, and you're able to be really sensitive to it, but then also be able to, I don't know what like the best word is for it, but basically what you're able to do is control it in a magnificent way in order to support yourself and others. So I really like that, because that's a really good like topic to bring up about all the different kinds of things, the sensitivities and the sensories that we have, and then how they can be stimulated and how they can be supported too.
And also, you guys are all like on fire tonight. I'm going through, and there's no way we're going to be able to get through all of your comments and all of your stuff. And you guys are amazing, and I love you. We try, we really, really do. But what I am going to say is that we have some serious, amazing, wonderful people out here who are very in tune. If you go through and you read the comments, you guys are freaking in tune as all hell. And please keep in mind, I'm saying that because Fran, I'm reading the comment afterwards, and she said she's feeling disconnected from everyone the last few days. I feel like if I associate with them, there will be conflict. And that goes hand in hand with what Mandee talked about when she first popped on. And, you know, the retrograde energy and this energy, and there is a lot of stuff, but it's not necessarily conflict with you guys. It's conflict in self. And I just recently came to this epiphany the other day that Crystal is not having conflict in this, she's having conflict in this. Okay. So we have to once again remember that, and I make jokes all the time with Ben. I don't want to sound that crazy, but I'm going to talk crazy for a second here. I'm not a human. I don't see through human perspective. My ability, like, I don't get people at all. People make things way too crazy in their own life. And because Spirit has taught me different ways to handle things over the past 12 years of my life, they have gifted me this thing. And so now it's like very difficult for me to sit in human very well, because people make conflict in themselves and conflict in their life. And I do it too. And so this whole time I've been very frustrated with spirit because I was working towards this. And I was mad because I wasn't receiving this. But what I didn't understand is that I misread the message for myself. I misread my own message. Crystal wants to help people. Okay. And what I was looking to do was not necessarily going to help people. It was going to help people, but it wasn't going to help people. And the key is, once again, I just said it, you are all individuals. You have all contracted a different contract. There is nobody beautiful, loving, kind, amazing, anxious, crazy, whatever, the way that you are. You are your own fingerprint. You're here for a fucking reason. Every one of you are, okay? And so to help people, I need to help a person and a person and a person, because we're all a mirror to somebody else. And I love that Mandee brings out parts of me that I have never seen before. She is this loving, light being. Mandee is Mother Earth, just wrapped up into this beautiful, amazing human body. And I absolutely love her. And I love how she holds us all. And for a long time, Crystal forgot to be that. Her whole life, she became very angry and full of animosity and full of anger because she had been treated in some of those ways. And so I was like, I ain't showing up for none of you assholes. And I forgot that that existed in me. And I started resenting myself and hating myself, because I knew I was more beautiful than that. I knew I was a caring person. I knew that I loved people no matter what, but I didn't know how to get there because I didn't know how to be vulnerable with me, and I didn't know how to be vulnerable with others. And so we're all a mirror. And so I think that you being disconnected, maybe you're not disconnected because of you. Maybe you're feeling the disconnection in others. Because when we are energy readers, a lot of times we read energy around us and we think it's us, but it's not us, and it has nothing to do with us. It's really us receiving from other people. And so maybe you're receiving on a collective consciousness level. And I would just like to pop that into all of your heads right now, because as we're reading your comments, you are gifted. And I believe you're all sensitive and you're all in an intuitive state. And so if that's the case, kind of sit back and be like, but does this belong to me? Am I feeling this heavy? Do things feel this conflicted for me? Or do I really kind of know where I'm at? Okay. And that's kind of all those ins and outs. That's that wave that we have to ride, or that dance we have to dance with all of these things and learning and growing. And at the end of the day, if you're like, no, don't feel like that's me, I don't feel conflicted and crap, then give it to the other people. Say, okay, I feel it. I'm an empath. My job is to be the conduit, the battery, to pass it through. I feel it. I receive it. That's what's going on. I give light to the people who are feeling connected or conflicted or feeling frustration. I give light to this situation, and then leave it at the door and go about your day. Not all of us are receiving because it's us. Some of us are receiving because it's the collective. And that's what is happening on all those layers. But I really have to commend y'all. You're freaking on fire with your amazing questions and comments and stuff. And I'm sorry we can't get to all of you. I think you're amazing. All of you are amazing. So I thank you greatly.
I had a couple things on that too. I did want to say real quick, like, one of my favorite things one of my clients taught me is when we're feeling disconnected or alone actually also means all one. And a lot of the time, even if we are disconnected, there's great purpose to that. And a lot of times, like, if we're afraid of conflict, like, all right, I feel like if I associate with them, there will be conflict. Maybe there will be. Sometimes we need to just get it out, talk it out, figure out what's going on, and then we'll see where things lie. A lot of times avoiding it, it was creates sometimes this push and pull energy and stronger attachments, actually. So it's an opportunity a lot of the time, and maybe just let things fizzle out or jump in. And it was so funny because I said the other day, I said to my boyfriend, I was like, yeah, I'm not human. And he was like, yes, you are. You are human in this lifetime, sweetheart. Sorry to tell you. And it was so funny. And I'm like, yeah, I am. And I'm so not human.
I
And
know I am.
so that just made me laugh really hard on the inside because I was like, I said that same thing. I got so called out, but it's so true. And I'm just so grateful for all of you for being here. And this hour flew by, and we're so grateful that we were able to hold some soul space with all of you.
So, Mandee, would you possibly be willing to like do a 3-card spread for all the people?
Yes.
Maybe for the week,
That would
because
be
there's a lot of ups and downs and personal battles and all the things that I'm seeing in the comments and stuff like that. And that was just because we can't individually get to everybody. Maybe pull something for the week for people.
All
Mandy's
right.
beautiful, and we love her angels and how they connect with her. We love this. Thank
So
you.
this is cool. I pulled a few cards, 3 of us for 3 for the whole week. And we've got the first one, Inner Earth. You'll survive this. New solutions, new beginnings. I love that because right now, during this whole Mars retrograde and moving into the holidays and the heaviness of the year ending and grief coming up and a lot of things, it's really important to know that we're here. We woke up breathing. You survived 100% of your worst days so far, and more things are coming. Just know it's a time to really to tune in and to see what solutions do start to present themselves to you, and then be brave enough to dive into them a bit. We then get a new earth. It's happening. Keep holding the vision. Know that you're not, there's purpose to all this pain. There's purpose to the things being uncomfortable and things are coming in. Even Crystal just told you she's been sitting around waiting for her ideas, her big ahas to come in, and she's holding it, waiting, and all of a sudden, bing, it's all coming online, and she's creating her website and cool things are happening.
And that came with completely breaking down, by the way.
There you go.
I was done.
And then last but not least, big picture thinking, the Pleiades energies, visionaries, inspired ideas. Let yourself daydream a little right now too, especially when there's conflict and stuff going on. Let yourself future dream a little about how you want things to be, what it could look like, what energy you're drawing in, and let things really become inspired. Inspired is when we're in tune with our spirit and spirits within us. A few people also said they were having a hard time right now getting out of their heads and into their hearts. Crystal and I have a beautiful resource list attached to this show that you can access when you look in the description. There's a great book, Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. You can listen to it for free on YouTube. The link is right there. That is my favorite tool to help start rewiring ourselves and taking some personal accountability. And I just thank you all so much for being here. And I also want to give a special shout out to Audra. I saw you commented. Thank you so much for being here and for your beautiful comments. I held some soul space with her husband, and it's really nice that you guys had a good experience from that, and I'm grateful. And if you ever want to hold soul space with me, you made it to the end of this live. I always, for everybody who watches the show and wants to hold some space, if you go to seagoddesshealingarts.com, which is also in the links, and check out any of my services, I offer 50% off if you've watched the live. So you just have to type in Mandee Live on any of those and you'll get 50% off. And I'm just so grateful you're here. We have some wonderful things coming up in the new year. We've got a cool class called Shadow Twerk for 7 weeks. We're going to teach you how to do shadow work. We're going to talk about a retreat coming soon. We've got all kinds of wonderful things. And thank you all for being you and being here, and hang in there. You're all okay. We're all right. We're doing this thing. Crystal.
There's a lot of changes happening.
There's
All that. And I said, we could do this. We could do like a Monday type of setting and talk about all the ways we've seen like things change, because boy almighty, does it look ugly right now. But I'm gonna tell you that if you look at it deeper, there's a reason why it's happening. Unless it starts to be seen by the collaborative, it can't change. And so that's why so many ugly things are happening right now. We have to see it, we have to witness it, we have to understand it to be able to change it. And so keep taking your breaths, keep practicing your breath work, try to find something inside of yourself, meditation. I do hertz, like listening to music. I do all sorts of stuff. Try to find something, baths, anything at all. But try to find a way to get that energy out and not to keep it inside, because that's what creates that beehive that we have going on in our chest. You can contact me right now currently at midmittenmedium.com if you would like a reading. And also I am on Spirit Speaks, which is also the YouTube that is down here. And thank you, Mandee. You're beautiful, magical, and I love you so much. And I hope
Right
you have a
back
great
at
night.
you.
And to all the people who watched and listened, and I love you. I cannot tell you how much I love you so much for tuning in and making our dreams come true with being able to help you, because that helps us not feel like we're doing nothing here on this beautiful planet.
Yes.
So, thank you.
And Glenda, yes, retreats will be announced soon. We're in the planning phase, and don't you worry, it'll be on the website. We'll announce it. We're gonna meet with the Sea Goddess team about it. But right now, we're manifesting it. So put those good vibes out there for retreats coming soon.
I hope you all have a wonderful week, better week. I'll put it that way. I hope you have a better week, and I hope you have a grand night. Love you all.
Love you all. Good night.